People also argue that one is like supporting minority and one is supporting LGBTQ, and there's a thin line.
I'm not sure I see what the thin line or difference is. So, for example, I took forward a hate crime bill. I was Justice Secretary at the time. And the legislation before I became Justice Secretary, before I brought in the hate crime bill, the legislation as it was protected me as a racial minority from people stirring up hatred against me as a racial minority. My argument in that bill was, if I have that protection against people stirring up hate because of my race, well, why should somebody not have that same protection because of their faith, because of their sexual orientation, or their transgender identity, or their disability? So we can't just pick and choose the rights that we as legislators believe in or don't believe in. Don't get me wrong, as I say, I'm not telling you what you should believe or shouldn't believe or support or not support. But as a legislator, as a government, we've got to make sure that we protect minority rights. And that's something, look, I'll never apologise.
Do you still support the LGBTQ?
Look, I still support absolutely the rights of the minority, any minority community, including the LGBT community, to have their rights in this country, in any country.
Because you also mentioned, like, clearly it was a mistake, I think in May 2025 in one of these statements.
Yes. I said the way we handled some legislation around gender self-ID, the way we handled that was a mistake. So, look, as I say, I'm a believer that you don't have to change your position, and never suggest that people of faith have to change their faith or what their scripture says. That's their prerogative to believe as they wish to believe. My point has been a very simple one. You cannot support only some minority rights. You either support minority rights or you don't support minority rights.
Because you're also saying a lot that your faith is like, center of all of your work. So that's why I think there's a more criticism that, yes, you can say that I don't support LGBTQ, but yes, they should have a rights. Maybe that's a right way to say it, rather than you are saying that the concept of LGBTQ is right.
No, look, again, I'm not necessarily seeing the distinction. I understand what you're saying, but I know, for example, my dear friend Sadiq Khan, the Mayor of London, he'll often get criticism for example, going to Pride, but he is the representative of all of London. If you're the First Minister of Scotland, you're the representative of the entire nation of Scotland. You're not just the First Minister for the Muslim community or for straight people or for able-bodied people or for one particular race. You're the representative, or actually for one political persuasion. You're the First Minister for everybody. Unionist, independent supporter, straight, gay, black, brown, white, disabled, able-bodied. And you've got to make sure that as First Minister, you're commanding the confidence of all those communities. Don't get me wrong, that doesn't mean, for example, that people have to change their religious perspective. I would never suggest that people have to do that. But as a politician and as a political leader, you can't just say, I support the rights of one community, but don't support the rights of another. Now, that often became misinterpreted, deliberately so, I suspect, by some. But I had people with hundreds of thousands of followers, even millions of followers on the internet, doing takfir, saying that, well, this guy can't possibly be a Muslim. And who are you to tell me that I can't be a Muslim? Who are you to question my connection with God? That's not your job.